So right here, hopefully people got into this opportunity here to open up a long position. I mean, it would have been made more sense to do it here. That was a possibility, but there's also the opportunity here if you haven't gotten into it yet. I'd say you probably still can get in. You missed out on a little bit of the gain here if you haven't gotten in yet, but there's apparently a breakout and a pretty significant peak here at the end of the day with the Ace of Swords. I would close out of the long position at the close, in other words. Huh. We did go lower than where we opened, but not by much. I would have expected more of a get. Well, you know what? This is actually pretty sharp drop here. Universe kind of energy at near overbought peak, and we sell off pretty notably. Then there's a fast sudden move higher, marking the end of a period of volatility. This is the Prince of Swords right here. You combine the Prince of Swords with the Bull, and this in this case here, this is a breakout ruin in when pointing in this direction. I should learn the names of the ruins. Just out of reverence. This is called the Tiwaz ruin. Right? So then we went into bearish price swings. There was a move to the upside and then full retracement, followed by more decline. We didn't really see a drop off of three pokes, but I'd say we're probably it kind of got combined in here. There wasn't really a drop off of it, but we did have three pokes, 1, 2, 3 here. Just wasn't really much of a drop off of it, and then we had this breakout to the upside, which is what we're in the midst of here. Ace of Swords and Ace of Discs right there. I don't know why I didn't notice the Ace of Discs until just now, but that's pretty interesting because we've got the low correlation here as well. And then the Queen of Discs in the low position appearing in the morning tomorrow could indicate that we opened lower tomorrow than we had a low here today. And considering that did we have a lowest low? I don't think we had a lowest low today. Oh, this is Goog. No wonder I'm missing those parts. I'm looking at the wrong chart. Still the same thing. Three pokes, 1, 2, 3, and then a breakout to the upside. This definitely looks more to me like the love card here midday. And we did open lower. It is notably lower actually. So 444, and we closed up at 445.81. Closed down at we opened up at 444.64. So $1 in there. It's not a huge drop, but it was low. And since we had a low on, was that Thursday, the 11th, Friday? Sorry. Since we had a low on Friday, my sense is that we probably have a lower price level tomorrow. And you can see there's a low correlator, a cross-reading congruency with the low significator here on the 1 month. So chances are that this low correlation here that we have actually ends up being here on the 15th. Hey Conrad, hey Tiberius, hey Trading Altitudes, hey Carolyn, hey Joe. Um, should we hold our longs right up until 4 p.m.? I think so, yeah. I think so. Um, So the 14th is this brief peak that's easily missed. Well, that already took place. All right, so then sideways rotation. I think so. I think we'll have a high probably right at the close. And then there's going to be a lot of price change overnight, is my sense, based on these aces. Unless we have a drop off of a high at the very end of the day. Like, let's say we hit resistance early and there's time left in the day. I would say that that's probably an indication that we go lower before the close. Like, we start going lower into the close. But we got about a half hour here. I would wait until the close and like if we're still if we haven't hit resistance here, I'd say either resistance or at the close. If we hit resistance here before the close, I would exit there, or if we um, go straight into the close, then I would do that. But I think there's probably a drop here. This seems like very toppy to me right here, the Ace of Swords, and then when you have the Ace of Discs right after it, it's a pretty strong indication of like a lot of price change. You're going from an important resistance level, Ace of Swords, and a lot of price change surrounding it, to an important support level, Ace of Discs, with a lot of price change around it. And they're important levels on like when you're looking at like a 1 day chart, but it should stand out, you know? Not to mention, we're coming up on the 23rd, guys. If there's trades that you plan on making prior, like that you plan on making during this period of time, the 23rd to the 15th of September, I would say you want to plan those trades ahead of time. You want to enter into those positions before the 23rd, and you don't want to deviate from your plan once we enter retrograde. Even if it looks crazy, you want to stick to your plan. Don't change it. If that means exit, exit. If that means hold it, hold it. But don't change your plan to whatever your plan is going into this period of time. Do not change it once inside this period of time. And you should have a plan. Otherwise, you're kind of leaving it up for randomality, if you will. And then Mercury, the interesting thing about this Mercury retrograde is that the pre-shadow is notably wider than the post-shadow. These two yellow bars, vertical bars, the pre-shadow is notably wider. So what we'll have is kind of like a shrunken version of whatever the pattern ends up being in this period of time. We'll have kind of like a shortened version of it here. Should really do this on this chart. You see that price level right there, that big brown price, brown support level? That was like Emperor. It lined up with a bunch of things, but it was Emperor, an Emperor price level in many cases, and you can see how it's become on like a the Emperor. In the last several months, really, I've come to determine that it's not just representing an important support level that can be relied upon in most cases, but it's a support level that can be, it's like it represents a support level on a bigger time scale than that of the reading. So when you see the Emperor on like a 1 month, it's an indication of an important support level on a year to date kind of scale. And you can see right there on the fourth, right here, this green bar. Or wait, that's the seventh. Well, the fourth. Oh, here we go. So an important support level on the fourth highlighted right there on a multi-day kind of scale, not just on the 1 month. Hey AV, hey Proof. Will BTC keep going down till tonight? Hmm. That was the 10th. Why does it only go to the 12th? That's so weird. I don't get, does this happen to anybody else when they look at the candlestick on the coin market cap? It like cuts off the last, like the nearest 2 days. It's so annoying. There we go. Oh, that's on a 1 day chart. Sorry. So annoying. Um, all right, so we had on the 7th, there was it the 7th was the low? That doesn't seem to add up. We had the Ace of Cups there, so I mean, that makes sense, but there was a low here on the 1st, 2nd, 7th Ace of Cups, another trough here on the, not much of a trough there on the 11th, ends up being on the, more so like, I think this is probably where we see, if we see another low, it's going to be like right around the end of the day here. But I think we're probably out of the lows. There was the two lows, and now we're like in this area where there's not another low here. We've established support here on an important price level, and we should see a notable move to a peak or crest there on the 15th, and I think that'll probably be to the upper end of where we've seen so far for the month. Um, and then we go higher from there. There should be a lot of price change here on the 15th. I would say if we start out the day at a high, we'll probably go lower into a prominent trough. But if we start out the day at near a prominent trough, which is more likely, we're going to go to the upside. Do I still advise? Oh, I'll come back to you, Conrad. I'm feeling indecision maybe for Mercury pre-shadow. I haven't looked at it so much on individual stocks. I followed it with the S&P 500 primarily, and you get like a pretty similar pattern in both shadows. It's not going to be identical because the weekends rarely do the weekends line up, and that will change the pattern. It'll omit parts of the pattern wherever the weekend is. So it's best to just go with the overall trend direction that you saw in that period of time, not get fancy, just go with the overall trend direction. And you want to plan on wherever we are on the last day. So we retrograde. This happens quite frequently. So wherever we are on the day that we go retrograde station, which is the 23rd at 2:53 p.m. which is a Wednesday, so that will impact the market. And what we should see is kind of like a pause or a pivot point. It's either a pause and then the next day there's a reversal, or we have the reversal right there on the day of. But that price level on the day of the 23rd, wherever we are, in most cases we'll see that price level again somewhere towards the later half of Mercury retrograde. You should revisit it again. Do I still advise opening short SPY shorts at the close today and closing them in the morning? That's the fortune card under there. Ace of Discs fortune card. And then we have cross-reading congruencies here and here. Right, here's a cross-reading congruency, the defeat card. What do I mean by that? If you're new, this cluster of four cards here on the 1 year reading represents August, and the low significator of the August cluster is the defeat card. We find it often the low significator card will appear on the same reading on the 1 days in a lot of cases. So we see like the sneak preview is speaking about it. It's probably that we have a low here. There's the Ace of Discs at the low, so that makes sense. Right? Ace of Discs is important. I would probably exit shorts here. Um, I'd probably close the shorts either if we're like a significant drop overnight and there's a good profit. I'd probably take it there right at the open to be, uh, prudent. But um, you might hold it until. No, I would close it right at the open. I would close the short right at the open, and I would probably open. I might actually open a long position first thing in the morning too and close the long position around 10 a.m. Boom, right around 10 a.m. Yeah, that's what I would do. So, open shorts at the close, close longs at the close, open shorts at the close, hold overnight, close shorts first thing in the morning, open up longs. And guys, this stuff works way better if you're dealing with actual like equities, like the SPY itself, or like an ETF that leverages it, or options that are in the money, or at the money. If you expect a big move, go at the money, but don't mess with out of the money options. I'm telling you, do not do it. You're not playing with price levels. You're trading with movement. You don't know the price levels in most cases um with the SO meta. And with that said, like, you'll see a move, and because you're out of the money, you won't get any benefit from the move, because it'll move in your favor, but it'll remain out of the money, and your position will depreciate even though you got the move you expected to see. It just wasn't enough. So stay away from that. Stay away from out of the money options, guys. I promise you, not a good idea. Slow and steady wins the race. But this is probably a place where I would open up puts. I'd probably open up at the money puts. Or like, you could mess around with like maybe $1 out of the money, just out of the money might be okay. But if you're wrong and you go deeper out of the money, get out immediately, just take the loss. As soon as you go out of the money on options, you should get out. Unless there's that circumstance where it makes sense not to. Hey, April. Wow, thank you, April. Really great advice for everybody, by the way. That does help the channel out a lot. Is August 17th going to be bullish or bearish? August 17th is going to be a reversal, so it's going to start out bullish and go bearish from there. That's my sense. Let's look at it on a one-day chart and see what happens. Yeah, bullish in the morning. Lows at the end of the day. Actually, the fortune card's there on the 18th. Interesting. So we might get like... I think we probably have lows at the end of the day. Overall, it's looking bearish to me. Look at that move, guys. We've got 15 minutes left, so be mindful of that. I would say hold it, though, because there's a breakout. This is a breakout card. It's risky. If you got a good profit, this might be a good place to take it, guys. We'll probably go higher, but if you got a good profit and you're a prudent trader, you'd probably take profits here. This would be a good spot. And then if you've got a little bit more risk tolerance, you might risk for a little bit higher. But Again, like, you know, a bird in hand was worth two in the bush. And there is this low correlation around the close as well. So remember what I said, if we move into this resistance before the close and there's time left, we'll probably see some sort of reversal to the downside here. And don't forget about that rule of karma, my friends. We're counting on you. Hey, Randy. Is it Randy or Rand? Randy, I'm guessing. Can we expect SPC for $3 tomorrow? Gosh, what is going on? I mean, it is a bearish day, but this is annoying. This is really frustrating me. It's possible that we have a bottom here, though, since we've gone lower than the low here. I was off on this low. The 7th, 8th did end up being a low. It was a prominent trough or peak. Then we moved to the upside, so I was on point about that. And then another sharp drop off of the rally on a, or the, I should say, off of the move to the upside overnight. On the 10th, there was a sharp drop off of that into the 11th, so that was pretty solid. And then we had another move to the downside here on the 14th. I would say that this is most likely going to be a lowest low tomorrow or the following day, based on what's transpired. Because aside from me picking the wrong location of the lowest lows, these were lowest lows until, like, they were the lowest lows until we had a lower one, right? We went to the upside and then started going to lower again. So they were prominent troughs as indicated, just not lowest lows. And then there's a prominent trough over here, which would since we've gone lower than those price levels already, we've gone lower. I would say that we most likely have a low here on the 15th, 16th. Yeah, we're really right there, guys. See, this is the revisiting of a support level that was a past opportunity, and it's on like a scale of a multi-day chart rather than like just a 1 month, like a multi-month, I should say. And that's often the case when you have it in the theme position. Hopefully that makes sense. I think. Do we see $3 in SPC tomorrow? Yes or no? I got a yes. Matter of fact, it's probably not tomorrow. It's probably on the 16th. It could be tomorrow. If we see $3 tomorrow, I would hop in there. I would definitely hop into it at $3. I want to take a look at how our 1 year is doing. I haven't looked at the 1 year in a bit since this moved to the downside. I want to see if we're still on track. Pretty sure the SPC 2024 reading came out on the site. The Bitcoin 2024 is coming out, if it didn't come out already. Where is it? Here we go. Interesting. Well, so off the low, we established support. Then there's a pretty prominent move to the upside, which I think probably comes towards the end of the month, the low, and then there's this move off of it, and that would be like opportunity before the lowest low for the year, I think, which is probably right here in September. It's either September or October, but I kind of feel like it's in September. We might see it. We might see a lot of price change here in the last month because this could end up being the lowest low here, which I didn't really look into when I did the original prediction. But in any case, there's this. See how there's this Ace of Swords and this Ace of Discs. There's going to be a ton of price movement here in a really short amount of time. I would just expect a pretty big spike to happen somewhere in here. And I might exit at that point, depending on what kind of spike it is. Hey Hamza, I saw your comment. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to get to Solana in September. We're already on the end of October predictions we're working on, and I might be able to squeeze it in, but I can't promise you, dude. Is there something about Solana that you want to know? Am I still seeing a meta short by chance? Kind of a risky place to do a short. There's a lot going on with the Ace of Swords. Looks like we probably go from a trough. So you probably could. It's not like it's off the table. You probably could because we've had this big move to the upside, and then there should be volatility, right? We did like this dip. We went from a high to a low back to that roughly that same high. You might throw a short in there, but I think a better trade is to wait for the 16th midday and open up a long position and then close the long position on the cusp of the 16th, 17th. That would be a better trade for Meta. You're welcome, Conrad. You're welcome, April. Thanks for your support, guys. You're welcome, Proof. Trading altitudes. Better to close here and open a short. I hope. Yeah, probably. If you haven't done so already, we we might get a little bit higher here, but this Ace of Swords is an important resistance. That's why I said if we hit that resistance early in the day, it probably makes or earlier than the close. It probably makes sense to get into the short. But I definitely want to get into a short at this point. I think even if we were to go a little bit higher, I'd still want to get into a short. And I'd close the short first thing in the morning. We'll revisit a support level in a period of sideways rotation with a sharp drop. Do I think there will be a lowest low tomorrow morning or close to it for Netflix? Um, we might have hit the lowest low today based on what's transpired here, and this is a prominent peak, not a highest high, but it did end up being a prominent peak after this decline. And off of the Ace of Cups, it could be that was the lowest low. But this is that trade I was talking about in the midst of a decline, getting into a long position and holding that long position until tomorrow. And I'd probably hold that. I mean, if there's a good opportunity tomorrow, it might be that this move to the upside out of the low is this Ace of Wands energy. And off of the Ace of Wands, we'd want to be prepared for a downturn to this trough between the 15th and the 16th. But if I'm wrong and you shouldn't open up a long position, or you shouldn't, sorry, if I'm wrong and you shouldn't close a long position tomorrow, then what you do is you'd hold it until the 18th. I wouldn't really worry so much about that ruin. It's not a ruin, it's a clairvoyant anchor, but I wouldn't be too concerned with it. The S&P rallies up 17% from lows. What percentage do you think SPY will dip in September, October? Oh, my bad. I'll come back to that, guys. Regarding Meta, you had predicted a gap fill to the downside. Is that by September 15th? Do I still have Meta open? I don't think I do. Um, I think it's hard to say if it's by September 15th, but we're gonna fill that gap like. August is looking really bearish, guys. And then it's kind of mixed in September, but hard to say if we fill it before then. But it gets filled somewhere in September, or around September, I should see. By the end of October, I think, or by midway through October, I think it's safe to say that we'll have filled that gap. All right, see, there's that move at the very end of the day. So, um, even so, I would still be in a short position at this point in anticipation of tomorrow, because that's that Ace of Swords right there, and we should see Ace of Discs tomorrow. So this was where I suggested conservatively to exit, and this is where I suggested to exit uh, if you have more risk tolerance. So that was pretty solid trades. Don't forget about that rule of karma, my friends. Please, channel's counting on you guys. Hey, Robert. Dumb money. Okay, I'll remember that. Joe, not sure what you're referring to. I think you were talking about the SPY. All right, so the rally's up 17% from lows. What percentage do I think SPY will dip in September, October? We should really see a really big drop here. Um, the end of September into October. Man, it would be crazy if we went all the way down to these lows, but there's really strong indication of lowest lows here. So I'm like, wow, it's hard. It's just hard to believe. It's got to be a really prominent low, maybe not a lowest low, but I think we'll definitely fill this gap here. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I think we'll definitely fill this gap here. Is my sense. We'll come back down to these price levels. Yeah. Yeah, Solana just there's just too many monthlies, guys. I can't do them all, and Solana's like one of the least like followed, so it's just it got taken off the table. Gold got taken off the table as far as monthlies as well. But that doesn't mean I can't do advisement on them. I'm just going to be doing them from like a 1 year standpoint rather than a 1 month standpoint. Yeah, Solana is definitely one of my favorites, but it's just it's not. It doesn't really help the channel to. There's too many. There's other ones that are more important. Does SPY move down more than $3 tomorrow? Yeah, probably. Probably, yeah. It'll be a pretty notable drop. Highest high for SPY in September? No, I think it's going to be a highest high thus far in September, but I think we'll have a higher price level than September. Let me back up and look. So I think it's the highest high thus. Well, actually, wow, it's a pretty strong indication of a highest high actually. But not September. Not September, October, I think. And there's going to be, I think this is going to get really mixed, like wild kind of going on in the end of the year, but there'll be some pretty big spikes to the upside. We'll have one here on the cusp of November, December as well. It's possible that we have the low for SPY here. It looks like the low for SPY is probably here in September. It might be October, but it looks like it's probably September, and then we go to a high in October. Hey, living on a prayer. We did not do a Bitcoin 2025 yet. We won't be doing a 1 year reading of Bitcoin for 2025 until probably halfway through 2024, unless somebody orders it ahead of time. You're welcome, Conrad. You're welcome, AV. Hey, Romeo, welcome. XLM highs before 2024. Whoa, that's one weird chart. Well, I don't know. This is why I don't use TradingView because it does this weird stuff. Like, why do I need a chart that goes that high and I can't see anything on it? Like, unbelievable. Um, yeah, there'll be highs in the early part of 2024. I wouldn't say necessarily before 2024, but there is a chance that we rally out of 2023 into 2024. By the cusp of 2023, 2024, we should be moving to the upside to a peak or crest. Will Meta go to 250 by mid-September? Yes or no? I got a yes for that. All right, my friends. With that said, I'm going to call it. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, if you're new, make sure to follow this rule of karma. You do so here on the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders. Right here on the resources tab, where we ask that you donate 5% of the profits that you make from this information forward to one of these charities through a click here link, and then 5% of the profits back to the channel as a thank you through one of these click here links. The channel is counting on you guys. We definitely need that support. And with that said, it leaves you with 90%, well more than you would if you were working with a stockbroker. You'd probably have like 70 or 60% left over. 90%, make sure to spend it out of love. As long as you do that, the universe is going to send it back to you tenfold through this channel, my friends. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have